Paige.
This is Monique.
And we are
Sacred Potential,
where we discuss the overlap of creativity, spirituality, and possibility. Today, you guys will get to hear from the incredible, the extraordinary Hannah V. She is a gold-selling music producer, born and raised in Berlin, Germany, currently living and working in London town, England. We had the pleasure and so much fun getting to talk to her, getting to learn so much about her. She's incredibly inspiring. Wait till you hear about the people that she's worked with, who she's currently working with. Check her out. Take it away, Hannah.
Hey everyone, my name is Hannah V and I'm a pianist, a keyboard player and a producer. So I was born and raised in Berlin. My parents are South Indian. So I lived actually in India for a couple of years when I was a kid. I moved back to Berlin. I started playing piano as a kid and was classically trained, and then fell in love with jazz as a teenager. Moved to London after graduating high school and studied at the Royal Academy of Music to become a jazz pianist. But in unexpected ways, twists and turns, I ended up becoming a session keyboard player. And I toured the world for 8 years with amazing artists. I was Rihanna's keyboard player for a year. I was Jessie J's keyboard player for 3 years. I played, amazing stages like Madison Square Garden and Staples Center, and I did Wembley Stadium a bunch of times. And I was kind of at the height of my career as a session musician, but something in my gut and something in my heart was saying it was time for a change. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt that being on the road was quite a big sacrifice. You kind of go on 8-9 months a year. Your family stop missing you. Your friends stop missing you. It's very hard to kind of fit back into normal society. You almost come back as a shell of a person, or I did anyway. 6 years ago, I felt like it was time for a change in my career. So I decided to become a full-time producer. I prayed and prayed and prayed about it, and very unexpected, I got a record deal offered from Sony. The option to actually quit being a session musician and move into the producer world. And so now 6 years down the line, I don't just call myself a producer. I 100% believe it. And I love my life and I love my job and I love my studio. I love the artists I work with, and yeah, things are going well.
For those who might not really know exactly, what is a producer?
Okay. So there's many different definitions of what a producer is. What I do is I have about 2 to 3 sessions a week, either with artists I've already worked with or with artists I've never met before. And we write songs from scratch. So I do all the music, I do all the programming. And then the artists, sometimes we have a top liner in the room too. So this is a specialist in lyrics and melody. And we come up with the concept, the song, and we write songs and I produce the songs. And then it either gets to the next stage where, the teams are interested or excited about the song, so the management or the label, and then kind of it goes through a whole process of kind of getting released. But ultimately, I'm just in my studio doing song after song after song after song with many artists.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I love that. Also, I just want to also say, I really love how you were like, I not only call myself a producer, but I actually believe it now.
Because you know how it is when you're in the beginning, you're just like, you feel like you're faking it till you're making it, and then you realize there's no making it anyway, so you might as well just like it's all good, just be confident about it.
Love it. Because you said you prayed and prayed and prayed, and then eventually that deal from Sony had come. So I was just trying to get the timeline. So you actually prayed and then the deal from Sony came?
Yeah, because I knew it was time to get off the road, and I was on a tough gig. I wasn't very happy, and kind of my prayers were just, the basic prayers of God, get me out of this. I can't do this anymore. Like, like quite childish prayers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Can you just please get me? And basically my prayer was mainly, can you get me on another gig? Okay. Or can you, can you, I'm not enjoying this current surrounding. Can you please do something about it? And I got frustrated because obviously God was like, hold on, I've got something bigger planned for you. So for a year I was praying, and I really, I wasn't looking for a record deal. I wasn't sending out demos. I was just kind of producing on the side, you know? So
Wow.
for that to happen was
Wow.
That is incredible.
nothing but a miracle, honestly. Like
Wow.
there's no other explanation for that to happen, you know?
Oh my gosh, it gives me so much hope.
So incredible.
Wow.
It's almost like that thing of when, we stop, sort of trying to make something happen and we just let it go.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Then
Yeah.
something happens.
Exactly. Did you?
And it just taught me about patience too. You just got to wait, you know? You just got to wait it out, because
Yep.
I had no idea what door was going to open. I'd never even dreamt of being a producer full time. I didn't, I loved it, but I never thought I could do it as a proper career.
Wow.
And so,
Oh my gosh.
tell us a little bit about your studio and what like how that's developed and what you're doing now.
So about 2 years into me being a full-time producer, I got a studio, and it's a studio in a wonderful studio complex. Our landlord is just the best. He's like a legendary jazz manager. He's like in his mid-70s and still working every day. It's crazy.
Wow.
Remind you of someone, Monique? My dad?
No, can't think of anybody.
Wow.
And it's just such a wonderful community. Like there's about 24 rooms there. Half of them are rehearsal rooms, so there's different musicians there every day. Half of them are producer rooms. There's a beautiful cafe there, so it's like even if I'm alone during the days, if I don't have sessions, you still kind of have a community there. You can go downstairs, you can have a cup of tea with someone, you chat to the people at reception. There's a studio cat who I desperately try to get to love me, and it doesn't work, but it's like it feels so nice to in a way have a normal job, and to be able to have my weekends off, to kind of go to work Monday to Friday, things like that I never had in my life before. When I was on the road, that just wasn't possible. But now kind of to like be part of society, feel the whole kind of Monday blues and the Friday. For me, it's really fun. I still haven't gotten used to it being normal. It's lovely.
What is it? I'm always I love first of all talking to people who are actually really doing what they love, what they're passionate about, or actually actually doing it as a business and like making money and just are happy. Could you just even put into words what it feels like to actually be living and doing what you love to do?
It's a dream. And I do a lot of talks and master classes. And the one thing I always kind of try and convey is that the dream doesn't necessarily have to be this glamorous, luxurious thing, So it's just me and my Oyster card going to the studio every day. Some months financially are tougher than others, but my job is literally going to my studio, which is beautiful, and doing the music that's in my head with amazing artists. It's insane. It's like, it's ridiculous that that's actually my job. It's dumb, and I feel so privileged and so blessed that I'm able to do that. And of course, living the dream doesn't mean every day is, is like a fairy tale. Of course, the job is tough. You have difficult clients, you have difficult, dealing with labels is tough. The business side of it can be very, very tricky, but ultimately I get to go and make music every day, every single day. It's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. Ultimately, it's still all in the midst of what you love, and so
and the good always outweighs the bad, and again, the tough situations, they're there to teach us, teach us something. So they make me, look at myself. Am I being too passive? Do I need to, stand up for myself more? Do I need to organize myself in a different way? Everything is a learning process anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're talking all this talking about music. What was your introduction into the sound of music? The sound of music.
I think piano lessons in India when I was a kid. And then church in Berlin. So the American church in Berlin always has amazing classical musicians. So even as a kid, I used to come in, and Dr. Poland, who was also my choir director at school, he just see me walking in. He's like, Hannah, come on, you got to sight read, either sight read the piano or sight read a tenor part. You know, just I'd be thrown into kind of professional situations all the time. So I was really, and then my school had a very big music program. So between my piano lessons, between school and between church, I feel I was always performing in one way or another. You know, I was always at a rehearsal. I was always practicing. There was always a musical or something to play, some little gig. So I kind of felt like it was just part of my life at a very early age.
Who would you say has influenced you the most musically?
It's hard to say. It's hard to give an answer for that because I think you meet so many people along the way that influence you, you know. I think my teachers were very, very influential. So from my classical piano teacher, who was a super strict German woman called Elke Damaszke, who's amazing, but she was so strict, to Dr. Poland, to Mrs. Poland, who was also ran the orchestras in school. A very big influence was my big band teacher in high school, Dr. Hinton. So he was the one who gave me my first jazz albums, and that's when I realized I needed to do jazz. So definitely teachers have had a big influence on me. Also my peers, you know, I was very lucky that my school friends and my best friends were all musical as well. So we just practiced together all the time. And I think that's so important because when you're 14 and you're still like a bit crap, but you don't really realize it, but you're kind of practicing in your friend's garage or something like that. Those moments, those experiences are really, really important, and they form you as a professional musician. You know, it's all experience, how to run a band, how to just have fun. So I think I was so lucky that I was surrounded by people that were as passionate about music, about jazz as I was. And, you know, I was really blessed to be able to do kind of jazz camps out in the States, in Germany. I was very supported. You know, I think it became obvious quite early on in my early teens, 14, 15, that music was what I was going to do professionally. So I kind of had the full support of my family, my school, my church, my friends. And
so important.
Yeah, and you know, like, you can't take that for granted. That's just a complete privilege to be able to have that.
Absolutely, because definitely not everybody has that.
No, people don't have the encouragement, you know, let alone the means to have lessons or, you know, a great school with an amazing music program. That's all. You can't take that for granted.
Yep. Yeah. As far as maybe people that are, you know, like musical history, people that have influenced you in terms of, you know, in the music industry, people like that, like the sort of the worldwide, people, like who have been some of your influences?
I mean, I was, so obviously all the big jazz artists, because you know, while everybody else was listening to, I don't know, whatever people were listening to, I was stuck in libraries listening to jazz albums. So, you know, from Miles Davis to Coltrane to Bill Evans to Chick Corea to obviously Herbie Hancock. It's his birthday today, actually, I think. Happy birthday, Herbie.
Happy birthday.
And I was also very, very influenced by soul music, because I think most pianists were used to being accompanists. We work with singers all the time. So I love artists such as Aretha Franklin, Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye.
Come on, Hannah.
You know, like that's just my school. That's what I grew up on, you know. So it's to this day I can't get enough of any of those artists.
This is another thing that I love about London, because I feel like London is a city, much like New York, that really appreciates soul music, like old soul music. Whenever I would go into like a bar or a club or just even like just a shop, there was always something like Sam Cooke, Otis Redding or something playing over, and I'm like, what? Who's playing my heart? So I'm totally about that life. Speaking of like influences, I'm curious to know if you could name one person that's no longer living that you would like to collaborate with. And
100%, without a doubt in my mind, Aretha Franklin. 100. Just immediately. That's the only, you know, because she was such an amazing pianist as well.
Why did that?
So, yeah, she plays on a lot of her records. It's either her or Donny Hathaway. Like, it's insane.
you would collaborate with Aretha Franklin,
Yes.
what would be the name of, let's say, the album? Like, you guys do an album together. What's the name of it?
You know what? My favorite, I love when Aretha sings like her, like down and dirty blues about how a man did her wrong, you know? So
Yeah.
it has to be, it would have to be something like that, because like when she sings that kind of stuff, it's so gritty.
Yeah.
And it's so soulful, but there's also real dirt in there. Do you know what I mean? There's like a feeling of like that kind of feeling.
Yes.
So it's just blues, you know, really. So
Yeah.
it would have to be something along those lines of "You better be good to me" or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like very classic "You done me wrong" songs.
Right. Oh, I love it. My favorite Aretha song is actually "Do Right Woman."
Oh, so good.
I love these are the types of things that make me want to sing well.
Listen, she's just the greatest.
Amazing.
So something I wanted to ask you is what do you find most meaningful in your life? I mean, obviously music, but anything.
You know, it changes the older I get.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like 5 years ago was success. I am very ambitious. I'm very driven.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, kind of the second I've achieved something, I'm already, my eyes are set on the next goal. But especially over the last 2-3 years, I've kind of realized I just want to be at peace, you know, and that's what gives me kind of meaning. Just like being calm. You know, because part of my job is such a roller coaster, and the good times are so great and the bad times are so bad, and it's such an emotional job. And especially now on this side as a producer, it's my product, which is me, you know. So when people aren't into it, or something doesn't get picked, or you really work hard on something and it doesn't get to the next stage, it can be really heartbreaking. And I'm trying to not find meaning in validation, and that's so hard. It's so hard. I'm nowhere close to being there, but that's kind of, I want to just find meaning and just like waking up, doing a good job, putting a smile on people's faces. That's it, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, because of social media and things that create this sort of insatiable need for approval, it can be challenging, because to not allow that to in any way diminish one's identity and who somebody is. Of
course, and it's impossible, because you look at social media and it looks like. For me, anyways, it looks like every producer I know is like having number ones and winning Grammys, you know, and you just feel like I'm still so far away from that. But then you think it's also like, it's not real, you know, like, or for certain people that is their reality, but they've been working at it for 20 years. I'm in my 6th year of being a producer. So I've got to give myself some time as well.
Right. And even with the people that are having successive, things, everything's transitory.
Of course.
It's like, even if it goes on for 20 years, at some point, So, but that's the beauty too, though, of finding meaning in, like what you were saying was so beautiful. How for you, having a normal life is going to your studio, doing the work that you do, doing the your best at what you do, and having some kind of normalcy to your life.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. But it took me a long time to get there, you know, because. I think I think that's just youth in general. When I was younger, it's just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this big thing and that big thing. And now I'm kind of like, the big things come when they come, and I have no control of them anyways. So I might as well just try and be relatively happy and sane in the process, you know?
Yeah,
exactly. Is there anything that you would actually change currently about the music industry?
I mean, it's not an easy industry to be in. It's very cliquey. If you're not part of the in crowd, you basically don't get certain doors don't open, you know. It's not a very fair world. Maybe that's just the world in general, not just the music world, you know. But I don't know. I guess I don't think about things like that, because I just kind of think, and Monique, you know, I got this from my dad. Things are the way they are, whatever, you know. I just, I don't think about the what ifs too much. I just do what I need to do to get what I, get what I need to get. Simple, because and by me kind of being headstrong and quite stubborn in many ways, where I don't take no for an answer. I don't care that I'm a female producer and there's only 2% producers are female. I just don't care about things like that. That kind of stubbornness opens doors and hopefully will help the next generation of women who want to do a similar job. Just they can look at me and say, well, she's done it, So I kind of try not to overthink things too much in terms of, we live, there's no doubt about it. We live in a classist, sexist, and racist world. That's just, it is what it is, but I try very hard not to think about that and just crack on with what I need to crack on with.
Yep. Focus on what you need to do rather than.
But it's interesting because after hearing all that what you said, it's like essentially you're a part of a good change of what's happening in the music industry.
Yeah, and I take I feel that that's my responsibility, and I've always felt that, like even when I was a keyboard player and I was, one of the very few female keyboard players doing the type of gigs I was doing, and it was really important for me for other females to see that you can be in the music industry, but you can be yourself, because the way I present myself on my socials and all of that, my parents can look at everything on my socials. I have no shame. There's nothing in there that's, that crosses a line for me anyways, and that's very important for me because of my culture, because of my family, because of my faith. But you can still do that. You can still look cute without, with having, your clothes on socials and all of that. So for me, it's really important to show other females, and especially young females, that there's a different way of doing this all. You can just stay true to yourself and just be good at your job and have fun with it,
Exactly. And that's the thing, is it's as long as you're in integrity, then there's nothing to have to double check, because you're just being you.
Exactly. And again, and I think that's the thing, like, there's no judgment to how other people present themselves, but I'm comfortable presenting myself the way I present myself, and I don't want to have to change that, and I guess it's just showing people that there are options, know.
Yes.
And you can present yourself however you want to present yourself, but you need to be comfortable with it.
Right. Exactly. And it has to be who you really are.
Yeah.
Wow, so cool. So cool. I had the question of, because I wanted to like maybe have you introduce yourself through your music, but then like physically through your music, but then I was just like, well, not that way. How if I looked you up? There's Hannah V actually in the Webster Dictionary. I don't know if you knew this.
No.
But for some reason, I can't read the definition. Could you help me with that there, Hannah?
Okay, so Hannah V. Gosh, that's hard, isn't it? Because I feel like we spend all of our lives trying to figure out who we are.
Or sometimes, I think sometimes it's, if you say, like, a person who knows you better than anybody else, like, how would they describe you? Or something like that,
That's nice. So they would say I'm loyal. They say I'm hardworking. I'm definitely one-track minded, because once I start thinking about music, it's very hard for me to snap out of it. So I'm a musician through and through, like it's just in my veins, and it's not something I chose. It just chose. I know people say that a lot and it might sound cheesy, but I do really feel it chose me. I'm very loyal, and once you get to know me, I can be very funny. But I'm quite reserved. I'm definitely an introvert. I'm definitely, like, and then it's interesting because I feel like in families you always have, like, my sister, for example, is definitely the extrovert of the family. She's super comfortable. Just put her in any room with anybody, and within an hour they'll all be her best friends. Whereas for me, it just takes so much longer. I'm just a lot shyer than my sister or other extrovert people. So it takes a second to get to know me, but once I've decided, or once we've clicked, it's just love forever,
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome. Can you be my friend? Okay.
Oh yeah. So one of the things I'd be interested for you to talk about is how has your faith influenced your music and what you do?
I don't know if it's influenced my music. I think it influences how I run sessions, it influences how I interact with people.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, in my studio, I've got a cross above the door, but it's a small cross because I don't want anybody to feel like they're coming into my studio and they can't talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Yep.
Or you know what I mean? It's like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important to me that like I welcome people of all faiths, of no faiths. I don't care, you know, I generally don't care. That's but it's important to me for people to know my colors in many ways, you know what I mean? So very early on, if I meet someone new, you know, I'll drop into conversations that, you know, I'm playing in church or something small, so that, you know, I'm a Christian, and I'll talk about my ethnicity as well, because that's really important to me. And then you know who I am, you know, Hannah V, she's, you know, from Berlin, she's Indian, she's a Christian, but that's all you need to know. But I find it amazing in the studio, for example, how many people want to write about their faith, and it does not come from me. And oftentimes I kind of also say, listen, we don't have to go down that route if you don't want to. Like, just don't feel like just because I'm, you know.
Yeah.
But they're like no, I feel like I want to. So my biggest song was actually a track with JP Cooper, an artist called Stormzy, and it was called Mama's Prayers. And the boys wrote how, you know, the only reason they're still around is because their moms prayed for them, you know. And for that to happen in my studio, it's just like, and little things like that happen a lot, you know, where I think people just feel a presence in my studio. You know, there's been a lot of prayers gone into that studio, and it's a safe place, you know. So people come into the studio and they just feel something. And I mean, the stories I hear, the tears that are cried in that studio, it is actually so amazing and very humbling for people to open themselves up like that to me.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So
especially with music, because it's completely a person's soul coming out, you know, and what a beautiful, that you created like a habitation for them to birth all that and to be safe, and that safety that you give people.
So amazing.
And it's really beautiful. And also at the same time, you know, if people want to come in and talk about being in the club and having fun, I'm down for that too, because we all need party tracks as well, of course, you know. You can't just be sitting there writing sad ballads about everything, you know. So it's kind of, I feel that's how my faith comes in. I just feel people are really, really comfortable in my space. And I think that's my prayers in the morning, you know, like it used to be, especially when I was on the beginning of my journey as a producer, as a writer. I was just like, every morning I'd pray, oh God, please, like, make sure I have good chords, and, you know, make sure I can write the song properly. And now it's just like, just make them see you and me, and that's it. If we have a song, or if we don't have a song, I don't even care anymore, you know, because the moments of ingenuity, they come, and you have no control over them. It just comes when it comes, you know. And for the rest of the moments, we should at least have fun. We should feel safe. We should feel like we can be ourselves.
Exactly.
And I love that ultimately that whole sense of welcome, like that people feel like they're allowed to be themselves.
Yes.
That's just so important and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I mean, not just because of the time that we're in right now with the COVID going on, but just in general, not just because of that, but how do you stay inspired to create in hard times?
It's hard. It's not easy. And people ask me this question and I don't really have an answer. Sometimes I literally get a bottle of wine and sit in the studio and just have a glass and see if, you know, sometimes it's as simple as I just need some liquid courage to see if inspiration hits. Sometimes I just need a couple of days off the studio. Sometimes, but the one thing that I keep coming back, I keep sitting in front of the computer, even if nothing happens all day, you know, that's the one thing about me. I keep showing up.
Wow.
And sometimes, you know, because these weird spells of, like I had week 2 and 3, this is week 5 of lockdown, week 2 and 3 creatively were hard for me. Anything new I was starting, I just didn't like it. You know, and I I had certain new things I had to actually send off, and I just couldn't do it. And then in week 3, finally, there was, and again, it's not even a breakthrough. It's just all of a sudden it happened. It took me longer than usual, but still every day of those 2 weeks, I just sat in front. I tried. You try and you try and you try and you try again, and then it just clicks, you know? So usually like 90% of the time I just show up, but then it's really important to know that those times, that 10% when you just need a break, you know? And you just need to be away from the computer, away from music, maybe out in nature, maybe seeing friends, maybe having a nice meal, you know, like, because that's, again, we need to also live to make music, you know, we need life experiences. We need something to talk about when we're in the studio. So
exactly.
Being locked up in the studio, which again, I need to work on that a bit more, like not constantly being in the studio, but it's very important to take breaks, you know, and I'm getting better at it. I'm definitely getting better at it.
Yeah, definitely. All these things that just like refresh the soul, you know, and like you said, just getting away from those things. It's just like with writing or any other art where you kind of need to go live a bit, and then when you come back, you're more enriched in a way, you know, to bring more to that.
Absolutely. But you know, it gets hard for all of us, and sometimes you just sit there with a glass of wine and feel sorry for yourself and try again the next day, and that's okay as well, you know.
And I think that the core of it is just, as long as you don't stay there forever, you know, it's like everybody has days that are hard, or that you just don't want to, you're just like, I can't today. But
exactly, and we're allowed to wallow for a second. That's fine, you know, like, and especially creative peoples, we're emotional anyways, you know, so it's like like, so it's fine. But like you said, we need to be able to know when enough is enough, and just like kind of either take a break, take a couple of days off, or just like really try again, you know.
It was like the other day, Hannah, I just want, this is just more like a just to say, oh my gosh, amazing. You did on your Instagram, you posted on your Instagram, you did a collaboration with
JP.
I can't remember his name. He had like dreadlocks.
JP Cooper. So he's like the main artist I work with, and he's incredible. He is
insane. Like,
isn't that when you guys got a Billboard? You guys were on Billboard, right?
No, but he's like kind of the main artist where, you know, I got my gold plaque with his album, and you know, I got my first top 10 with him and everything. So he's kind of, I'm like one of his main producers, you know, but also he's like a really good friend, because we met ages ago. We met before both of us had deals, you know, so it was kind of, it's a very genuine friendship and musical relationship. And I heard him basically on his Insta Live. He just sang that, he sang Lean on Me a cappella. And the second I heard it, I was like, JP, send that to me immediately, because it felt so apt for these times, you know, and it felt like that's the least we can do, you know, we can put out a bit of hopeful music.
Exactly. I mean, just listening to that, seriously, it just also just made me think about how important it is for us to stay connected. Because to have the collaboration, you on piano and his vocals paired together, I was literally in my kitchen listening to that, and I was just so still. I couldn't. I was just like,
I'm so happy.
So beautiful. So thank you so much for that.
No, you're so welcome. And again, that was really the point. It was like, you know, like there's something in the air right now, and of course we're all putting on a brave face, and of course we're blessed by having a roof over our heads and food on the tables, but it's hard and it's scary, and people aren't sleeping well, and we're anxious, and these little moments of hope, they're so important. They're so important right now, you know? And so I'm so happy that I was able to contribute.
Yeah. It's like it was very healing.
And it was healing for me, like figuring it out too. You know, I took my time with it. I did it I started at like 10 p.m. the night before, just like really getting into it, really figuring out how do I want, you know, the piano part to kind of move along with his vocals, like, and that was healing for me, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, what were how did it go technically? Like, was that not like a live situation where he was singing and then you were hearing, or How did that come together?
So he posted that on his Insta Live, because every Monday he does like little Insta Live concerts,
Okay.
where it's just usually him and a guitar. But then he just sang that a cappella. And then I saw it. I don't think I saw it the same evening. I saw it like the next day, a little clip of that. And I said, JP, just rip that, just download that video and send it to me.
Oh
you know?
my gosh, Hannah.
And so then he sent me that. Then I kind of then I put my piano parts to it.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh, to know that's how it came together is even more incredible.
Yeah, so it was kind of like just like an a cappella that he sang, and I was just moved. I was just like, you just need to immediately send me that.
Amazing.
And again, this is like, when you work with people, when you work with people you know so well, it's like you can say stuff like that. You can be like, Dave, send me that, please. And there's no questions are asked, because you just, you just like, it's all such trust and such love and such respect, between us, that it's, like, even because I could have done it, and even if it wouldn't have kind of felt right, we wouldn't have posted it. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter. You just got to try stuff. Exactly. And sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't, and who cares?
Exactly. Yeah.
I love how fearless you are. Yeah. It's so awesome. Oh my gosh.
Again, I got it from my dad.
Yeah, we could tell. We could have a whole podcast about your dad.
How, Hannah, would you like to be remembered?
I think, it's so interesting how I feel things are, I've changed what I want people to remember me by. Now I feel I want people to remember me by someone that made them feel 100% themselves, Mm-hmm. So it's not even my achievements. Of course, listen, don't get it twisted. Of course, I absolutely want to win a Grammy. Absolutely. Of course, there's achievements, like very tangible and physical achievements that I still want to, achieve. But if there was one thing I just want people to say, man, when I was in a room with Hannah, I could flow so freely. I could write about anything, That's kind of what's important to me.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm telling you, you're a friend in my head.
So Hannah, I don't know if we mentioned at the beginning of the interview, but that you are in London. So we're gonna put the link below the podcast so that people know where to find you. But maybe tell a bit where your studio is, what the name of your studio is, if people want to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. So my studio is in Hoxton, and it's in a place called the Premises Studios. And in order to kind of find out more about me, just my socials are the best. So if you go on Hannah V Official on Instagram and Hannah V on Twitter, you'll find out all about me.
Okay.
We'll be sure to post those.
Yeah, because we have I have a lot of friends in the film industry.
Nice. Yeah.
That'd be a good connection for them to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like, honestly, I think in part, some of this is selfish on our part, because we get so much inspiration when we talk to people like yourself, and hearing your passion and how you work and your drive, and just like,
how many amazing things you've done.
Yeah.
And also, like, the things you've done, and then where you're at now, and how just how at one season in life, one thing can seem really important, and then later you go, actually, I just want a normal life now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite bits when you were mentioning about, your dream. The dream doesn't always have to be so like rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
Just having your Oyster card and going to the studio, it's like that is a part of the dream. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
I really loved hearing that.
Well, wow, thanks so much. This has been really inspiring.
Oh, it's so fun. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
I enjoyed it so much. Shout out to Kumar.
Yes, Daddy.
For our audience, Hannah's parents are lovely human beings, and her dad is Kumi to me, and always will be. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hannah. It's been a real pleasure and honor.
Oh no, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you once again, Hannah, for taking the time to share part of your story with us, your heart, your music, your talents. Oh, and of course, your beautiful hair. We greatly appreciate it. Please be sure to go and follow Hannah on Instagram at Hannah V Official. And also, thank you guys for tuning in. We very much appreciate your time. And also, feel free to reach out, send us a little comment, let us know what you liked and what inspired you about today's show. In the meantime, we look forward to coming back to you again with another episode of Sacred Potential. Take care.